Hello everybody. So today I'm right to it. This video is about foreigners in Germany. And I thought no better place to start than right there is the Ausländerbehörde. And ironically, through the trees over here is the international school. Now, I'm making this video. We're gonna take a little walk. I'll try to stop and talk and not walk at the same time. Because I still need to get a gimbal. If anyone wants to buy me one, feel free. My PayPal link is down below. So, now this video. How does Germany treat foreigners? This is a direct response to a recent video made by Nelf. Because I think the video that he made was absolute shit. You'll notice I gave it the same title. I gave this one the same title, but his content was absolute shit. He made a 10-minute video and like 8 minutes of it was paid promotion and talking about other stuff. He included a bit advertising for that his girlfriend needed a job. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with being a foreigner in Germany? Nothing. So, Nalf, you make good videos. You would be a good producer, but your content is horrible. I'm sorry. I've disliked you from the moment you went to Hamburg and hated Hamburg, so we would never get along. I also want to point out this one thing Nalf mentioned in his video. He talked about getting an apartment and how he had two options. He went online, he had two options in Schwäbisch Hall, and the first one didn't reply, and he was able to get the second one. This is 180% the opposite of anything in Hanover. That concept is a joke. Like, it took my girlfriend and I 9 months to find an apartment. Like, you look for an apartment available here, and when you meet to look at the apartment, there's like 30 other people looking at it. Like, so his experience had nothing to do with being a foreigner in Germany, and it was probably a poor representation of what it was like to get an apartment here. So, aside from that, how does Germany treat foreigners? I've had many different experiences, mostly here in Hanover. You know, Hanover is a big enough city, 500,000 people, very centralized, lots of tourism. There is a large foreign population here. Sorry, I don't have numbers, but I know that for a fact. A lot of people come here because of the Messe. We all know that this is a big thing in Hanover. And I'm taking you on a bit of a specific walk here. Like, this is the Hannah Arendt Weg. This path, like, the river is right in front of me. And I think everything that she did and she stands for represents people as a whole, no matter what the borders are. Now, before I continue, I'm going to walk to the other side of the river. There is a specific location that I want to stop and tell my stories to you in front of. So, let's fast forward through this. Should I make driving noises? Okay, so Hanover has got a Gandhi statue. Hanover's got a lot of interesting and seemingly odd, strange statues around the city, this being one of them. However, I feel like it symbolizes a little bit my opinion of how open people here are to foreigners. Wait, let's keep Mahatma right behind me. Yeah, I think that works. I'm sorry for the traffic noise, but this is a busy street here as well. If you're not sure where this is, I hope you figured it out from the path that I was walking on, but right there is the Rathaus. Now you know. Now, some stories in my experience regarding foreigners here in Hanover, and I guess Germany. I think this reflects Germany a little bit more, because I want to make a couple points. One, I do think that Germany overall is quite open to foreigners. However, there's a lot of inconsistencies based on where that foreigner comes from. And there is this fact of the matter that there's something like 10 to 12% of the population has this AfD political stance, and I don't feel like they support foreigners at all. So if you got 10% of the population that doesn't want foreigners here, that greatly affects attitudes and opinions. Now, a couple things that I have personally experienced. One being straight hate for some people. I have come across Germans that hate people from Poland, and there's also some problems with people from France. There is a certain level of hate between France and Germans. Maybe this is an older generation, but I have heard things be said that blew my mind, like just straight hate. So that's one thing. They're not fully open to all of their neighbors. Now, me here in Hanover, I have experienced a lot of different things. Like I've met people that come from much smaller countries that had a lot of difficulty being able to stay here. I've got a friend from Tunisia who is a doctor, and I think he had a harder time being able to stay here than I did. And I've got nothing to offer like that, just as an example. Another thing, greatly being the language. You know, like it is known that you have to be speaking the language to stay here. However, somehow on the legal side, no one has ever really cared about me. And I have experienced much different things. For example, people from other small countries are required to take an integration course, get a language certificate. I have never once had to do that. There was one time, like I've been in Hanover for almost, let's say about 5.5 years, a little more than 5.5 years from the time that I first went into the Ausländerbehörde. So let's go with 5.5 years. Maybe like the initial time. And then there was once about 3 years ago when I got a letter regarding an upcoming appointment that said that I needed a language certificate. But it turned out that I didn't. I went to the appointment and they didn't say anything about it. So maybe because of the fact that like I've been trying to work and most of my stay has been based on me having a work contract, maybe they just let that slide because I feel like they just want, if you're working here and not causing any problems, then maybe they don't care. I don't know. But I've seen discrimination greatly into my own favor from the start. And for the most part, I never wanted to openly speak about it, but I'm here so long now, maybe I feel a little more comfortable speaking out about it. But it's been unfair in my advantage, so I can't complain. However, I'm pointing it out because clearly there's differences in how people are treated. Overall, I've had no bad experiences. Maybe a comment here or there. When I was working for the Dachdecker firma, there was a couple older guys that didn't really care for me being American. And also too, within that, like, I used the name Eric Durrami sarcastically. Like, to me, it's fun. It's who I am, who I've become. But I know that for some people, it's meant more as an insult. Maybe an older generation, it's a bit insulting, but whatever. Now, regarding the language, I've had people tell me that it's more important for them to improve their English than me learn the language. And I don't understand this. So many people love speaking English with me for the reason of improving their English. I've had people give me different reactions because I was from the US and not from England. And that has been really funny. However, the funniest moment was one time I was in the Arbeitsamt. I had a meeting there because I was beginning unemployment, Arbeitslos. And I walked in and this woman began speaking to me, and right away, I was expecting the same routine. And I said, I apologized for not speaking German. And I'm sure I said it in Deutsch. I think I said, es tut mir leid, ich spreche English. And she got so mad at me. She was so upset. And she just started chewing me out for it. She said, well, if you want to live here, you need to speak the language. I don't speak English, so you need to understand what I'm saying. She said all this in Deutsch, so I understood what she was saying. I struggled with the response part. I was like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, it is my own fault. And I think she said a couple other things. But then she looked at my passport and switching to English, she said, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were British. No joke. This was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever experienced. Like, what clearer example of, let's just call it discrimination, can you give right there? She literally, in perfect English, she apologized and she said, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were British. Give me a break. So, like, to me, that's freaking hysterical. Like, I feel guilty. For 6 years, I have felt guilty because I have seen discriminating behavior. I've seen people from other countries be treated differently, accepted differently, have to jump through more hoops than me to be able to stay here, have to do more work than me to be able to stay here. So I don't know. I think coming from the US, there is a bit more leniency, I guess. So this topic of how Germany treats foreigners, is very sensitive, and everybody gets treated differently. I disagree with it, but there's nothing that, I also still come from this background of, like, the world is not fair. So I had to go through all of my own shit to be able to live here. So any extra treatment that I get, I'm gonna gladly take it. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. That being said, I appreciate all of you watching. And what else? Oh, I'll throw in one more story, because if you're watching my videos, if you don't know, I hope you've seen some of my other videos, but for about 9 or 10 months now, I've been working at a Getränkemarkt. And some months ago, there was a man and a woman that came in returning their Leergut. And the guy began speaking to me, and he asked me where I was from. I said the USA, and he said that he was from Iran. And very quickly, like, this was during the time, I don't know if it has stopped, but we know what's happening with women in Iran. And I looked at the woman next to him that I assume was his wife, because of the way that they were interacting and they were there together. I looked at her, and I looked at him, and he made a comment about how the USA and Iran don't get along. And I looked at him and I said, hey, no worries. You and me are here as equals, and I have no problem with you. And he gave me the big smile. I said, you and me don't have any troubles, because even though I get special treatment here for being American, I consider myself as equal as anyone else that comes from any other country. So you won't get any of that from me. With that, I think I have said all that I need to say. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, cheers.